Welcome to the initiative on quantitative aptitude, develop, enhance, enrich. In this 11th video, we discuss some of the problems on compound interest that have been asked in competitive examinations. First, we see the difference between simple interest and compound interest. If the principal amount is P, then after 1 year in simple interest, the amount become the principal amount P plus interest for 1 year for the amount P. After 2 years, the principal is same P. We have to calculate only interest for P. So already there is interest for 1 year interest for P. Now for the second year, interest for P for 1 year we have to add. So the amount becomes P plus 2 into interest for 1 year for the amount P. And after 3 years, the amount becomes P plus 3 into interest for 1 year for P. So, in simple interest, interest for first year is same as interest for second year, which is same as interest for third year. So, for the first 2 years, just it is 2 times interest for first year. For 3 years, it is 3 times interest for first year. But in compound interest, if the interest is compounded annually, then we have to calculate interest for interest of the earlier years also. The simple interest, just we calculate interest for the principal amount P, but here interest for interest have to be calculated. So that is the difference between simple interest and compound interest. So after 1 year, the principal amount P becomes P plus interest for 1 year for the amount P. So no difference between simple interest and compound interest after 1 year. But after 2 years, the principal P is there. We have to calculate the interest for P for 1 year. Then we have to calculate interest for 1 year for P, which is the first year interest. That is, we have to add interest for the first year. So that is the difference between simple interest and compound interest. We have to calculate interest for the interest also. So after 2 years, the amount is P plus the interest for 1 year amount for 1 year, because the 1 year amount is P plus interest for 1 year for P. For that we have to calculate interest. So interest for P for 1 year plus interest for P for 1 year. So for interest we have to again calculate the interest. Similarly, after 3 years, the amount is P plus interest for 2 years accrued amount for 1 year. So if you understand this, we can do the problems, to do some of the problems on compound interest without using compound interest formula. For example, the first problem, a certain sum grows up to rupees 4,840 in 2 years and up to rupees 5,324 in 3 years on compound interest. We have to find the rate of interest. So, up to 2 years, in 2 years it grows to 4,840. In 3 years, the amount becomes 5,324. So, by what we have understand on compound interest, second year amount plus interest for second year amount for 1 year gives the third year amount. So the third year amount 5,324 is the second year amount 4,840 plus interest for 4,840 for 1 year. So 5,324 is 4,840 plus interest for 4,840 for 1 year. So interest for 4,840 for 1 year is 5,324 minus 4,840, which is 484. So the interest for 4,840 for 1 year is 484. We want the interest rate. What is the interest rate? Interest for 100 for 1 year. Interest rate is interest for 100 for 1 year. We have interest for 4,840 for 1 year. So from that, we have to calculate the interest for 100 for 1 year. So 4,840 corresponds to 484. So what does 100 correspond to? We have to divide 484 by 4,840, multiply it with 100. So 484 by 4,840 into 100. So if we cancel 484 in the numerator and denominator, it becomes 1 by 10. So 10 is in the denominator, 100 is in the numerator. So if we cancel 10 with 100, we get 10. So the interest rate is 10%. So the answer is choice 2. Next problem. The simple interest on a certain principal amount for 4 years at 10% per annum is half of the compound interest on rupees 1,000 for 2 years at 20% annum. Find the principal amount. So we are given that simple interest on certain principal amount for 4 years at 10% per annum is half of the compound interest on rupees 1,000 for 2 years at 20% annum. So first we calculate the compound interest on 1,000 for 2 years at 20% annum. So what is the first year interest for 1000? The interest rate is 20%. So for 100 it is 20. So for 1000 it is 10 into 20, that is 200. So the first year interest is 200. In compound interest, what is the second year interest? First year interest 200, that corresponds to the interest for the principal amount 1000 plus interest for interest. What is the first year interest? 200. So for 200 we have to calculate the interest at 20% rate. So for 100 the interest is 20. For 200 it is 2 into 20 or 200 into 20 by 100, which is 40. For 1000 the interest is 200. So 200 plus 40, that is 240. This is the second year interest. So what is the total interest for 2 years? First year is 200, second year interest is 240. So the 2 years compound interest is 200 plus 240, that is 440. We are given that the simple interest on the principal amount for 4 years at 10% per annum is half of the compound interest for 2 years. So the 2 years compound interest is 440. So half of 440 is 220. So 220 is the simple interest for the principal amount for 4 years at 10% per annum. So for 4 years the amount is 224. The interest is 220. For 4 years the simple interest is 220. So what is 1 year interest? 220 by 4, that is 55. So the simple interest on the principal amount for 1 year is 55. What is the interest rate? 10%. So 10% per annum interest means if the interest is 10, then the principal amount is 100. For 100 principal amount, the interest is 10. So if the interest is 10, the principal amount is 100. But here the interest is 55. So for interest 55, the principal amount we want. So it is, we have to divide 100 by 10, multiply that by 55. So 10 corresponds to 100, we want 55 corresponds to 100 by 10 into 55. So 100 by 10 is 10. So 10 into 55, that is 550. So the answer is choice 4. A man deposit 5,000 in a bank at the rate of 12% simple interest for 2 years. He also deposits another amount 5,000 in another bank at the same rate of 12% compound interest compounded annually. Find the difference between simple interest and compound interest generated on the amount after 2 years. So the amount invested on simple interest and the compound interest are same, rupees 5,000. The interest rate is also same, 12%. We have to find out the difference between simple interest and compound interest after 2 years. So after first year, what is the simple interest? Simple interest rate is 12%. So for 100 it is 12. The amount is 5,000. So for 5,000 it is 5,000 into 12 by 100, that is 50 into 12, which is 600. So the first year interest, simple interest, is 600. So the first year simple interest is 600. What is the second year? Second year interest also the same interest, 600. So first year simple interest is same as second year simple interest. So first year 600, second year is also 600. Okay. What is the compound interest? The first year compound interest is same as simple interest, which is 600. What is the second year interest? Second year interest is the same 600 plus interest for the interest 600. So the second year compound interest is 600 plus interest for 600 at 12% rate. So it is 600 plus 600 into 12 by 100, or 600 plus 6 into 12. So 600 plus 72. So the second year interest is 672. There is no difference between simple interest on first year and second year. In the second year, the difference, simple interest is 600, whereas compound interest is 672. So the difference is 72. Or if you recollect, the second year interest is first year interest plus interest for the first year interest. Then the difference is interest for the first year interest. So the interest for the first year interest 100, we have to calculate 600 into 12 by 100, that is 72. So by that way also we can do the problem, or by calculating simple interest and compound interest separately, you can easily do the problem. Similar problem. Find the difference between simple interest and compound interest for a sum of rupees 8,000 lent at 10% per annum in 2 years. So here the principal amount is 8,000, interest rate is 10%. So the simple interest for 8,000 at 10% is, for 100 it is 10. So for 8,000 it is 80 into 10, that is 800. So first year simple interest is 800, second year simple interest also 800. Compound interest, first year compound interest is same as first year simple interest, which is 800. What is second year compound interest? First year interest plus interest for the first year. So first year compound interest is 800. So 800 plus interest for 800 at 10% rate. So it is 800 into 10 by 100. So 800 plus 800 into 10 by 100. So it is 800 plus 80. So the difference is 80. So thank you for watching. Work hard to get a success. Wish you all success. Thank you.